this could be a really fun conversation, especially if we do this like low tones, smooth. It's gonna make sense. Let's just start off with the flim flammer. Now, you could experience this in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s. All right, so this is not specific to any like age group or identity, gender, anything like that. These are just people can do this. And no amount of a good job or college or, anything smart you can do in life to try to better your life can stop this kind of dynamic. But the flim flammer, we'll just start off like this. You have a heating problem. You call a guy, you're like, hey, can you come take a look? He comes out, he sees that it's a small problem. It's like a thermostat or something. But he tells you, yeah, we gotta rebuild the unit. Okay, that's one, we'll call it a type, all right? But that's your flim flammer. The second one could be, I knew a guy who ran a sober house, and he loved to get 2 or 3 guys to talk bad about one guy and then make that guy have to go to the hospital to prove that he's sober, knowing that the doctor's not going to tell the house his HIPAA information. So when the owner calls and says, I need to talk to the doctor to make sure you're not on nothing, and the guy has a report printed out that says no banned substances, sober, in good health, he wants to talk to the doctor though. Well, this is part of his flim flam. He knows that the doctor's not going to do that. And so now he gets to kick the guy out. He re-rents the bed, takes another $500, and this is how he makes, thousands of dollars a week, all right, by throwing jackets on people. In relationships, let's just say the guy's name is Billy. Billy's a janitor. He's a good guy, maybe he had a rough past or whatever, but he's a changed man. He levels with people. When you speak the truth with people, okay, they gain, respect is gained. And they know you don't mess around, you don't screw around, okay? And you're gonna get tremendous respect for that, right? So this guy, he has a right to tell his own story. He's not an idiot. He's not showing up in, this is not to knock anybody, but he's not showing up in the mental hospital and being a pain in the neck about it, if you get what I mean. Not a sick person legitimately, but someone who's like playing the victim all the time, right? He's not showing up in jails. He's not doing anything out of the ordinary. He's a pretty regular person. He should have a right to tell his story. Well, this, again, we're getting into narcissism realms here. This person's not going to let you tell that story. His brother Claudio is going to tell the story for him. So when he goes out to get that better job, it's probably not going to happen because his brother's not going to buck up for him and say, yeah, Billy's a good guy. He's a changed man, whatever the case, right? So where I'm going with this is that these difficult people can be hard to spot, but there are certain characteristics, like for instance, with females, with women, right? If they really, really seem into their bodies, that's a red flag, okay? Like if they're really like going out of the way to like make sure their appearance is super great all the time, that can be a red flag. Cheap haughtiness, cheapness, arguability, you could call it, okay, quick to temper, things like that, that's another big red flag. But see, everyone has needs, okay, and we all have to cover our own bases. And if you look at what someone's needs are, like, here's how we can end the video with a great example. Let's say there's a guy, he's 42 years old. He goes to the bar, he meets a girl, she's like 25. He's like, move in with me, I'll install you in my life, here, you can drive a car, you can play house, like, you'll be an instant hit. The whole neighborhood's gonna think you're some great person, right? She takes the deal because maybe this person doesn't have a lot going on in their life. So they're like, actually, yeah, I'll fake a relationship with this person so I can make a come up real quick, right? So this is what they'll do, and then they'll end up in divorce court like a few years later, because obviously it's going to implode on itself if it's fake. You know what I mean? And if you're trying to get your needs met through crooked means like that, like instead of going out and doing it yourself or finding a legitimate way of doing it, if you're just thinking about like marrying up and all that kind of theory, then a lot of bad things can happen to up to including crimes, divorces, your property can go out the window, you can lose out. Grief and loss is one that in particular that I'm going through at this point. It's been a couple months now, but like it was my favorite person in the world, let's just put it that way. The person I spend the most time with, the person that we learn together the most, and when I lost this person, it was really weird to me that I was also hurt too, and everyone expected me to just like sort of take care of business, and then no one came around either. And like I said, it's not like I'm the kind of guy that like I'm calling you on a Saturday yelling at you. I take care of my own stuff, you know what I mean? I might say hi and bye to people here and there, but like I'm not like up there behinds, you know what I mean? So like there's no reason for like weirdness or smoke. But again, with difficult people, okay, they understand, they're very smart. They realize, this is emotional. So sometimes by saying nothing, you can say a lot. You know what I mean? And it was really nasty. This has been a really nasty 2 months in terms of just being at the apartment, like basically by myself, and then really like the calls and texts. I mean, friends and acquaintances aside, those people are sweet, but like when it comes to like people who should be calling, who should be coming by, who should be coming to see if you're all right, who should care about your mind and care that you're going through something extraordinary. You realize when you lose someone that close to you, that's like having a mind flu. You're systemically sick. Like your brain is just not well. And you could use, people you trust around you. And again, with difficult people, that's not going to happen. But we'll do more videos on that in terms of like, what do you do when all that happens? Like, how do you rise above all that without like losing your shit? Because at the end of the day, your inner critic is going to always beat you up the worst. Okay, and when you deal with difficult people, they love to work on this. This is how the flim flammer got over on the guy with the thermostat. This is how the guy convinced the lady at the bar to marry him. And she thought, oh wow, my whole life will just get better. Okay, this is the kind of thinking, right, that these guys have. Okay, and so you can watch for little red flags and cues. You'll hear things like, oh, I was a winner, I was the top dog, I was the best, yeah, and you're like, okay, yeah, alright, I'll give you that, you're pretty talented, alright, yeah, you're good at whatever. But then you'll hear it again, and then you'll hear it again, and you'll hear it again, and it'll be like 12 times now you've heard that, like, they don't fail, they don't do wrong, they don't make mistakes, they don't, they're an abundant